It's been a while, but we're going to put this train right back on the tracks. Yep, we're going to talk about our, Live Free and Ham anniversary. I think, we're going to cover a little bit more of that or share a little bit of our thoughts around that. But before we do that, let's get into the next Live Free and Ham. Hello, and welcome to the Live Free and Ham podcast. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, and beyond. And we're thrilled to have you here, whether you're a regular listener or tuning in for the first time. This is like a breath of fresh air reading this script. I mean, we take 1 week off and it's like, wow, I feel like invigorated all of a sudden. I don't know. But anyway, thanks again for joining the episode. So as always, let's get in the show. I'm your host, Eric, callsign N1JUR, and I'm with my wonderful co-hosts,
Paul, N1OG.
Todd, W1STJ.
There we go. Cool. All right, well, let's get into our usual things like we have to catch people on real quick. Head on over to the storefront, as always, at livefreeandham.com/shop. We've got the new shirts that I'm wearing here. This one is Your Ham Radio is Showing, and I've got RF Around and Find Out as well. And so, yeah, head over there. You can pick out a whole bunch of new stuff there. Check all that out. And, if you're over there, pick up a hammy or two. Let's spread some love and show our ham radio prowess there. And as always, you can join and connect with the community, and you can do that in several ways. Obviously, you can do it in the live stream, which is we scheduled tonight. So hopefully we'll see a lot of folks in that live stream, even though this episode will air a week later. But with that, we also, make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified. And you can reach out to us in a bunch of different ways, obviously via SMS, email, and our favorite method is to always leave us a voicemail at 978-233-1142 for a great time as always. And all those are always in our show notes and links below. So, and if you'd like to obviously support the show, the best way to do that is through the Buy Us a Beer links. You can do a one-time donation there, or if you want to come be part of the whole party there, become a Patreon member. There's a ton of free stuff. You obviously get to be, part of these live streams that we have set up every week when we record our episodes. And there's a bunch of other stuff that always goes on. But as we always say, or Bob Koff always loves to say for us,
you can join for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big expense.
All right. Well, yeah, and Bob is 100% dead on about that. So, head on over to our Patreon, check it out, become, a subscriber and a supporter, and, we'll let you in on some of the cool stuff. All right. So with that, we have a special mailbag this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Everybody, we got some news.
Slow down, Boog. Let me handle this. We've got some news. I've got bad news and bad news.
I have reviewed ship's personnel, Captain.
Congratulations, you've got mail.
Well, let's get back to the real show here. If I get to the right template. There we go. All right. Well, so we've got some mailbag mail there. Todd, take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, Bob Koff sent us it sounds like he just sent me the message, but it says, "Hey, Uncle Todd, don't forget me about your favorite nephew when you win the lottery." So thanks, Bob. Yeah, I won't forget you.
You already did, Bob. Sorry.
Yeah, Bob, I didn't even know what the hell you're talking about because I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone 3 podcasts ago.
So make sure you get it in writing, Bob. That's all we have to say.
I'll put you on the list. All right. And the second one we got, and this just goes to verify when I've told everyone that the Something Extra with Todd is really why this show is taken off, is, hi, Live Free and Ham. Wanted to say thank you for the extra segment with Todd. I found your podcast in my feed a couple months ago and went a long trip and started listening. After weeks of listening to your segment and getting your extra got me thinking about my upgrade. I had done a little studying a year ago and then stopped due to life. It's kind of like where I'm at. On June 25th, after a week of hitting practice tests hard and looking over material I was having issues with, I passed my extra test in time for field day. I'm rooting for Todd to pass the test, and I hope you keep some form of this segment going after to keep inspiring hams to upgrade their license. From KE8VWF/AE. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yep.
And I'm kind of like right there with you. I've got 2 more weeks of baseball, and then I'm going to really hit the books and try to get this thing out of the way. And we'll figure something out when and if I ever get my extra.
When that day comes, we'll cross that bridge, right?
We'll start doing technician questions. We'll see how many of those you can get right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I know I'd fail horribly. The last time I took the technician's test was over 30 years ago, and the question pool was way different then. All right. Well, cool. Good. Thank you again for everybody sending stuff in. If you want to send something in, just, you can always send us in one of 3 ways. As Watson says, you can, send it via WinLink if you're, versed in WinLink and you become part of our WinLink Elite folks. You can send us via email at liftfreeandham@gmail.com. Or you can head up to our website and leave us, our comment form there. Or last part, heck, be brave, use our voicemail number, leave us a voicemail, and we'll play it on our next episode. So awesome. So with that, let's go into the scene that seems to support everything in this whole entire podcast here.
It's everyone's favorite segment.
And now, a little something extra with Todd, W1STJ.
Still a general.
All right. Well, as always, you've heard it here. This is where we help Todd study for his extra class license and many others like yourself. Okay. Where did Paul go? There we go. I was like, where did Todd go? He dropped off here. He's the one testing, not me. So with that, each episode, we always pick 3 questions from that extra class question pool, test his knowledge and hoping he gets his upgrade. So if you want to follow along, you can always head over to hamstudy.org. It's a great resource to help you prepare for your test. And it's always recommended by 4 out of 4 VEs because the VEs, guys, they're just the best. This is the way it goes, there's nothing else but enough of the rest. I was trying to make a rhyme there and that fell out pretty fast. So anyway, all right, without any further delay, and I'm going to shut my mouth here. I'm going to head it over to the VE Quizmaster. Take it away, Paul.
All right. I just got to say, I love the new intro where it's everybody's favorite segment. That's great.
It's a combined effort with Todd at the very end in the somber way. Still a general.
All right, Todd. So question number 1 for this evening comes from sub-element number 7. What is a crystal lattice filter? Is it A power supply filter made with interlaced quartz crystals? B, an audio filter made with 4 quartz crystals that resonate at 1 kilohertz intervals? C, a filter for low-level signals made using quartz crystals? Or is it D, a filter using lattice-shaped quartz crystals for high Q performance?
Oh, man.
I don't remember this one.
I like how they just a little bit more every answer. It's like, it could be this one. It could be this one.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking crystal lattice and then lattice-shaped quartz crystals for high Q performance, but I think I would have remembered that when I was studying. So I think I'm going to go with C.
I don't know. The high Q performance is a big thing for me. It kind of sticks out. I'll go with D, although B probably is the answer.
All right. Well, Todd said C.
Oh, nice
C
job.
Is correct.
There we go. And D is not.
So a crystal lattice filter is a filter for low-level signals made using quartz crystals. Note there's a slight difference in layout between crystal lattices and ladders. There are pairs of crystals within lattice networks. Resonant modes are paired with each crystal in the lattice that facilitate an intended bandpass envelope to pass. So hint, lattice is for low level. There you go. All right. Great job, Todd.
Thank you.
Good job, bud. Nice job.
Question number 2 comes from sub-element number 4. Which of the following types of noise can often be reduced by a digital noise reduction? Is it A, broadband white noise, B, power line noise, C, ignition noise, or D, all of these choices are correct?
All of these choices are correct.
I'm going to go with all of them.
Yep.
Digital noise does a lot. You hit it and everything gets quiet. So.
DNR. Do not resuscitate.
All right. Final answer is D. And D is correct.
Nice job. 2 for 2, man. Here it comes the song.
DSP noise reduction operates by examining a characteristic of signals and noise called correlation and dynamically filtering out the undesired noise. Correlation is a measure of the regularity of a signal. In most DSP noise blanker implementations, the amount of noise reduction varies according to the correlation characteristics of the noise. Random noise, such as white noise or static, is uncorrelated. Speech and ignition noise is moderately correlated. Heterodynes and pure tones are highly correlated. There you go. Yep. Fantastic. Look at that. 2 for 2.
Yep. Now the pressure's on.
Okay. For the third and final question of the evening, what is an IARP?
Oh, that's an I, not an L. It's not LARP.
It's not an L. It's not LARP.
Hey, Uncle Elon's not helping me out here. It's all blurred.
It's a little blurry there, my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll read it anyway. So what is an IARP? Is it A, the internal amateur radio practices policy of the FCC? B, a permit that allows U.S. amateurs to operate in certain countries of the Americas? C, an indication of increased antenna reflected power? Or is it D, a forecast of the intermittent aurora radio propagation?
No song tonight. I'm going to go with B, my final answer.
I have no freaking clue. I don't know.
And
I'll do.
He said that with confidence.
I'll do a C.
All right. With confidence, Todd says B, a permit that allows U.S. amateurs to operate in certain countries of the Americas. And Todd is correct.
Nice job, bud.
I'll be honest, I was a little on the fence with this one. I didn't know you were going to get it right.
Yeah.
But so
thanks for the confidence.
Hey, you're welcome.
He's honest.
So International Amateur Radio Permit, IARP, is for operation in certain countries of the Americas. And it allows U.S. amateur radio operators to operate without seeking a special license or permit to operate from that country. For a U.S. citizen to operate an amateur radio station in a CITEL country, an IARP is necessary and may be issued by a member society of the International Amateur Radio Union. For the U.S., the American Radio Relay League, the permit lists its authority in 4 different languages. So, well done, Todd.
Good job, bud. 3 for 3. Way to go.
A long time since I went 3 for 3.
See, apparently we need to just take a big break and just talk about absolutely nothing for 2 weeks.
Oh man,
wow.
That was good.
Nice. And I don't even get to hear the song, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
I only got one right out of the whole ordeal. All right. Well, okay. So, hey, if you're on the journey to studying for your technician general or that extra class license, then hamstudy.org is an awesome resource for getting your ticket. And maybe if you, just like a few others, have received your license, or maybe you've upgraded, we want to know. So, we can recognize you on our next episode and share in and revel in all of the great glory of your, achievement there. So, hey, if you have gotten your new ticket or maybe you get an upgrade, you can always hit us up at livefreeandham@gmail.com or in any of the other ways that you can reach out to us. Let us just know. And we'll make sure we mention it on the next episode. And actually, with that, do we have any that we've known about, Paul? That you're usually pretty much in the loop.
So yeah, I was just in a Toad session actually last Monday. We tested somebody went for their general and somebody went for their extra. They both passed. Call signs escape me, but yeah, congrats to those guys anyways. Yeah. And it just so happens that because I have all of my GSARA in-person testing materials with me in the RV, you're not going to have them when you need them for the 12.
For the in-house, yeah. Oopsie.
But I have them for the pop-up session in Huntsville, so I guess, okay. I don't know.
Well,
you're going to have to print off some tests.
And so how many people? We only have like one person, right?
I think we're up to 5 registered now for the 12th. Wow. Yeah. Okay. In-person session. All are brand new technicians except for one upgrade.
Heck, you should just, send out an email and say, hey, would you all like to do online instead and do it from the convenience of your home and do it that way?
Instead of doing it at the
and see, if you get all 5 of them to say sure, then I'm sure I'll be available for helping out, and I'm sure you'll be able to get Eugene and a bunch of other guys to be able to jump on.
Yeah. So the only thing is you can't test everybody at the same time unless you've got 3 VEs per person. Per person. Yep. So if we didn't have enough VEs, somebody may have to wait for, somebody to finish.
So that means they get to surf the web while they're busy waiting for us to put them in the queue. Got it.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, it may be easier to just switch it to a remote session.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, hey, we'll work that out in behind the scenes as always, but heck, we love to hear about people, achieving their goals, obviously, with getting their, obviously licensed the first time. And actually, one that comes to mind that I just totally forgot, and I don't think we mentioned in the previous, well, I know we didn't mention last episode, was a new, younger, 24-year-old in our club. Chris is KC1WXP. He just recently got his technician, and he's also blind, and it's really cool. Because I'm learning a ton of stuff as to the whole blind community. You're disappearing there, my friend. It's like you're fading in and out. It's like, oh my gosh. And yeah, he's teaching me a whole lot in that area. And, so it's really cool. So yeah.
Is he 100% blind or?
Yep.
Like he can't see at all?
No, can't see at all.
Not like, yeah. Wow.
Yep. Funny story with him, just a sidebar. He actually he sings the national anthem at baseball stadiums. If you Google blind Chris Dewey, Dewey, I think is his name. Blind man, you keep switching and I keep losing my focus. Baseball national anthem. He sang the national anthem. It was pretty cool. So yeah, he does a lot of that. He does a lot of cool public speaking and stuff.
Do we have Braille test? How did he test?
Good question. I don't know. I don't know who he tested with either. I'll have to ask him.
I mean, I would imagine, given the visual impairment, it'd be like a private session with a VE that would read the question and the answers and then mark it for him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, to me, that seems like the simplest solution.
Well, and he's technically savvy, like he's very good at computers and that whole stuff. So he, he might have taken it online too with a whole bunch of readers and everything else like that too. So yeah, well, I'll have to find out and report back. So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
we should have him come on. We should have him come on the podcast.
Definitely. We would probably, I'll reach out to him and see if he's interested with that. And funny thing is that, he's obviously looking for his latest HT, and you'll never guess the only HT on the market that's actually like, ADA, blind, we'll say positive.
Let me
in
guess.
terms of,
It's a Quanchang.
no, Kenwood. Kenwood is the only one that does it. And of course, it's a Kenwood D75 that does it well, and it does it remarkably well. And I'm like, oh man, that sucks for a kid that, obviously is, so maybe as a club, maybe, hey, Live Free and Ham, if we get a bunch of people that want to help maybe give a new ham, an opportunity to have a really cool radio and actually use it to its full benefit, hit us up, maybe we'll do a little quick fundraiser and we'll, buy a D75 for him and, give it to him from Live Free and Ham. So, if that interests you, hey, let us know, hit us up. We'll talk more about it. So, all right, with that, let's get into our usuals here. So, how has your ham radio week been, N1OG, my friend?
You know what? I did ham radio shit this week.
Holy fuck!
I know it. So I drove 2.5 hours yesterday to Wisconsin.
Wow.
Wisconsin needs to fix their roads. Let me just tell you. But
that's another story.
So I met up with Chris Chevrier. I'm sure I butchered that, but KD9YSW.
Well, you're not going to invite him on to tell him his call sign as you hand the mic to him. Just give me your call sign.
Dude, all right, listen. It was funny because so I must have said his call sign probably 50 plus times.
Mm-hmm.
And then like we get you on the radio and I just fucking blanked on it. And I'm like, just say your own goddamn call sign.
Literally having the video. When the video comes out tomorrow, it's going to be premiere. It's all you hear is N1OG go, oh, fuck it. Just give it your own call sign again. I've done, he throws the mic at him. You can tell he threw the mic at him at that point. Chris is like, oh, okay. It was cool. Anyway.
But yeah, so, it was a really nice park. I guess there's a little lake and some natural dunes. I didn't do a whole lot of park exploration. We just we activated. He told me that he had been kind of struggling with that particular park. He had been out there 3 times running QRP because that's what he's got. He's got a G90.
Mm-hmm.
And he had yet to successfully activate the park.
Oh, okay.
And so I was like, all right, well, we're gonna go 891 QRO with the Reliance end fed. And I picked a picnic table that was right next to a tree. And wouldn't you know it, right? First throw, perfect shot, right up and over the tree. But I was really struggling now. I'm like, why? Like, so many people were like really, really weak and like just not picking them up. And so I was like, listen, I said, I'm going to leave the radio on. I'm going to unhook the antenna from the tent stake that I'd put in the ground. And I'm going to pull it back through the tree and I'm going to throw it 90 degrees opposite the way that it was going. Right. And no shit. Right. I throw it up and over. Perfect throw first time. And so what was it? Whiskey 4 Bravo was the station that I was trying to get. And I was struggling hard. Like, he was down in the noise. Obviously we were down in the noise. He had put me in the log anyway, even though like I didn't put him in mine because I just didn't get a good copy on the signal report and whatever. But with the antenna 90 degrees different, dude, he was a full 5.8, like nice, good quality. Like I could hear him. So I called out and I'm like, hey, all right, I got you now. And he's like, yeah, I already put you in the log. Okay, well, can I just get a signal report so that I can put you in my log? And then please stand by for the second operator. But no, it was a good time. We got 19 contacts, so it was a successful activation. Just a little bit over an hour. Actually met a couple of guys that came over and they were like, hey, I'm a ham radio operator and this is my call sign. And I just don't actually do anything with ham radio. And it's like, all right. So the both of them were like doing family things, you know, like right near us, and they're just kind of observing. And, you know, then the older guy, he came over afterwards and he's like asking questions about Watson and asking questions about the radio and the antenna and everything else. And it's like, dude, if you want to jump in here, like, I'll just say we got 3 ops and like, you can jump in. He's like, no. I don't want to, you know, it's like, you guys, like, it's great. You're doing what you're doing. So yeah, so it was a good time. It was a fun activation. The drive home absolutely sucked. Driving through Milwaukee is like driving through Boston. Like, you know, 93 through Boston, like, yeah, you're on the highway, but you're still like going through the city. And so, yeah, it's Interstate 43 goes through Milwaukee, and yeah, some Jeeper rear-ended a freaking Hyundai in the fast lane. So like the fast lane was blocked, and I'm listening to the semis and they're all like, yeah, anybody know what the hell's going on? Anybody know what the hell's going on? Finally, we get somebody in the southbound lane that goes, hey, listen, you might want to move over to right because the left lane is totally blocked. I got it all on video as I went by. I had my dash cam going, so I'll make sure to throw that in the video. But yeah, it was a good time. It was good to get out and activate a park and get another state. So now I got Wisconsin in the books.
That'll be the last time Wisconsin.
Yes, that'll be the last time I go to Wisconsin.
Nice.
Marvin lives out there, doesn't he?
I mean, like, what is Wisconsin known for other than cheese and Packers?
That's about it.
Marvin's got
that's it.
And maybe KB9 VBR, but that's about it. You know,
yeah.
That's the only other third option. Wow, dude, that's awesome. And you know, funny story, and I'll elaborate later, but like I was literally in the middle of filming the video for a review of a couple of chokes that Matt sent me, and I was like, I was talking about, hey, looking at the POTA spots page, and then all of a sudden I scroll down and I see N1OG, and I'm like, oh, I'm only like 3 hertz up, so I tune up, and it was like dead air for a little bit, and all of a sudden, this is N1OG, and I'm like, oh, dude, this is awesome. So you know, gave him crap, you know, checking in. Of course, I get a 5.5 no matter what. It's always a freaking 5.5, but you know, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with a 5.5.
Yes,
it means
there is. I thought I was a little bit higher in your friendship, you know, circle where I, you know, hey, even if I was a 2.2, I still get a 5.8.
It has nothing to do with friendship. It's about giving an honest signal report.
I don't want
how you sound.
I want you to lie to me and tell me I sound wonderful. Come on.
All right, Becky.
Exactly. Very true. Right. Honest. Come on, be honest. Anyway, no. All right. Well, good on that one, man. It was awesome to hear that you were on the air and making some good contacts, and good that you head up with Chris, because I've been chit-chatting with him back and forth on YouTuber stuff, and it's kind of funny. Like, I'll mention something and he'll be like, yeah, Paul already talked about that. I'm like, yeah, I know. I figured so. I mean, him and I, you know, we think along the same lines. So it's all good. So cool. All right, Todd, any ham radio?
Well, I lugged all my POTA shit to Florida and back.
You took it for a ride?
Yeah. So, yeah, you
could elaborate.
I had to go down to Florida for a day. I left Sunday night, supposed to get in at 11. Was going to go see this kid early in the morning. And then I was going to go activate this cool park that I found online. And it all got fucked up because I didn't get to my hotel until 4 in the morning. Supposed to get there 11 p.m. Couldn't get a rent-a-car. The hotel didn't have a shuttle. So I had to download the Uber app. Never used Uber. Used Uber. Quite a cool program. I like it. And got 3 hours of sleep. Rent-a-car place doesn't open till 8. I was supposed to be on the road by 7:30. Of course, when you get there, my whole plane was there trying to get rent-a-cars because they were in the same boat I was in. And so I ended up getting to the place at 10. Drove 65 miles one way, 65 miles back. And by the time I got back and I looked at the time, there was no way I was going to activate and make my plane. So grabbed a quick bite to eat and got on the plane and got back to Baltimore. That's where the layover was. And as the night before, as I was sitting in the same restaurant in the same seat, eating the same damn thing that I had the night before, the alerts start going off. Your flight's been delayed 10 minutes.
Oh no.
15 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Wow.
So I was supposed to get in I was supposed to get in at 9:30 p.m. and I ended up getting in at 11:30 p.m.
Oh.
So not too bad. But again, I was on 3 hours sleep. 3 hours of sleep. And I texted my boss and I said, dude, I got an 8 o'clock hearing. You're covering it. I'll be in at 11. And he's my friend. So like, we've been friends for like 20 years. And I said, all right, buddy, you got this one. So he goes, you got to come in though. It's just you and me in the office today. I said, all right, I'll come in. Just going to be in, you're going to have to cover my morning shift because I'm not going to be there.
Wow.
So yeah, it was disappointing because it wasn't too hot. It was actually hotter up here in New Hampshire than it was down there. They had some storms offshore, so it was kind of cloudy. It wasn't too humid, it wasn't too hot, and it would have been perfect. But I had to cap on it. I had to get a 3 o'clock flight back, and there just wasn't going to be enough time. So I told the worker, I said, you know what? I had a really great visit down there, and I really like this kid, and and if you want me to go back down there, I'd be glad to do it for you.
Please
just give me a little bit more time.
I schedule it. I'm going to leave like 5 o'clock in the morning and come back the next day at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Get some POTA in for sure.
But it was I do like the kid's a nice kid. She I've seen her before a year and a half ago, and like I said, it's not a bad trip. And she actually will talk to me. And I mean, I spent like 2 hours there, and she's becoming an artist. So I saw a lot of her artwork, and so it was a decent trip. But I was really disappointed because I really wanted to do this park, and I was so mad. I was like, I cannot. There wasn't going to be enough time. Like, because I know myself, I would have been there. I would have been like at 9. And I'd be looking at the watch, and I'd be like, I can get one more. And then next thing you know, I'd miss my flight. And
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had a mental kind of like blockage because I was looking at Polo for a little bit, and I thought I was actually on the spotting page, but I was in a log, and I saw like your call sign because I had worked you, and I'm like, holy crap, Todd must be on. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm on this frequency right now. That doesn't make sense. Like, and then I realized, I'm looking at the log, and I'm like, no, he's not even on the spotting page. So, and that's when you had started to text me, and I was like, okay, forget it.
So, TSA, I know that we've talked about this in the past. No problems. They didn't even check either way. I put
they didn't stick their finger in your bum and make sure you weren't smuggling something.
No, I got the pre, so like I just walk right through, no problems.
Yeah, you pay extra to not have them fucking harass you.
Yeah,
they just pre-lubed him, and he squeezed right in.
I'm gonna say now though, pre is sometimes the line is longer on pre than it is the regular one. But the benefits of you don't have to take your laptop out or your things, you don't have to take your shoes off or your belt or anything, and you don't walk through that machine that does the funky
3D scan. Yep.
3D scan. You just walk through a metal detector and you grab your shit and you go. Yep. So that was cool. But what I did this time is I flew Southwest, and I didn't have to fly those sardine cans, those little tiny planes. So I put my POTA bag in my roller bag, so I wouldn't have to carry the weight. I could just roll it around. So the POTA backpack was inside my roller bag that I just shoved up in the, the bin,
the overhead.
The overhead, yeah. So that was kind of cool. Nice. And then I just brought my little work bag that had my headphones, my laptop, and my iPad for studying and watching shows. Oh, and one other thing before we forget, I watched a miniseries called 0 Day. And
that's good.
You watch that? It is really good. And
it's good.
Ham radio's in it. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. That was a short episode. Like it wasn't really that long.
Yeah,
at
it's
all,
like
right?
4. It's like a mini.
Yeah.
It's like a
Right.
limited series, like 4 or 5 episodes.
It was pretty realistic, ham radio wise.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the whole antennas that they were putting on there. Like they put these little down, like they pulled it out of the drawer. I'm like, there's no way, dude. But yeah,
well, and it's got Robert De Niro, and Robert De Niro, like he's a fuckwad these days. Like
I know, yeah, he is a total fuckwad. But I gotta give him, he's a good actor. I haven't watched a movie that he hasn't been in that I haven't liked. I mean, he does some pretty good movies. And yeah, so it was a movie to recommend or miniseries. It's on Netflix to watch it. But I did have some ham radio, and that was big part of the story. So it was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. I'll give you that. I remember that was one of the things my wife was like, oh, it's got a ham radio and you got to watch it. So I watched it. I was like, okay, I watched it. Like I started midway through the series, like the 4 parts. And I was like, all right, I have to go back and watch the other 2 because I missed like something along the way. And it's like, because if you don't pay attention, you're just like, you're okay. I lost a plot line. So yeah, that was a good series for sure.
Yeah. So everyone listening, let's go watch that movie. You can get some ham radio promotion in
If you don't able to play your ham radio, watch it. Or like Todd, take it on vacation for a little bit for a day and then bring it back.
my 891 has been all over this freaking country. I mean, seriously, it's been Mississippi multiple times, Arkansas multiple times, Louisiana, Florida, California, Maine.
You need to get like those magnets or the stickers that you put on like, RVs on your radio just for every state you've gone through and, only put them on when you don't activate.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was a shitty trip, but it is what it is. So I'll be down there again. That kid's not leaving anytime soon. So
all right, before we ask Eric about his ham radio week, I got to ask you, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
How many states have you activated? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah, I'm about.
Pull it up.
I want to say I'm like 18, maybe.
Fuck you.
Well, hold on. Let me check for sure. I don't want to.
You don't have more?
No, I've got 12.
Really?
Yeah,
wow,
I got 12.
I would have thought you would have had more with all of your travels, man. I actually haven't looked at mine. Man, I haven't logged in. That's weird.
But you got to take into account that like a lot of the East Coast traveling up and down the East Coast, like my wife wasn't into stopping for ham radio until I kind of forced it last year. And she was just a trooper about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, let's go. I gotta go to my awards again.
All right. Well, while you're looking those numbers up, Eric, how was your ham radio week? I mean, I know you got out to a park.
Dude, I did. So I've been, kind of turning up the volume here on the channel a little bit, trying to get a lot of the reviews because I looked at my backlog and went, holy crap, I've got like 4 antenna reviews and a bunch of other stuff. And then, of course, I love Matt. Matt's the great guy. He's like, dude, I've got all this and this and this. I'm sending it to you. And I'm like, okay, fine, send it, dude. I'm not going to say no. And so, like, he sent me like 2 antennas, the 56-to-1, a bunch of linked dipoles, and like, I got like 4 antennas. And then he sent me the 2 RF chokes, the big one and the small one. And I'm like, ooh, I like the big one and the small one. So, of course, I'm like, I'm going to do that one. That's an easy, low-hanging fruit kind of thing. And, I could easily just set them up and they'll either work or they don't. It's simple as that. So I took the 56-to-1 antenna with me and, I didn't do any prior tuning. And I
don't have to.
A little bit. I had to tweak it a little bit just because it wasn't in the side. It was 2-to-1, but I wanted a little bit below that for the sideband portion. But, it wasn't that bad. I applied the N1OG after fussing around with a little bit to decide that 1.8, 1.9 was perfectly fine. And, it would, wouldn't affect the radio.
It's good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so I was down in Salem, Mass, and I was like, I'm going to go find a park, but I decided not to activate the park that I've been beating my head against, which is this Saugus Ironworks one. I have failed the 2 attempts that I've done to that park. I failed both of them, both by missing like 2 contacts. It's been horrible. And so I'm like, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go find another park. So I found another park somewhere in the middle of, oh my gosh, this was more out by oh my gosh, I just drew the blank where it was.
Revere.
It was farther up. It was past Lynn, past Revere, kind of more towards the coastal towns. I can't think of it. Shit. Anyway, either way, so I went out to that park, and it's a nice little quaint park. It's in the middle of nowhere, kind of just off a main road in like a little fenced-in area. And I was like, dude, this is a perfect spot. I pulled the truck up. I'm like, I'm going to throw my 10-meter mast up, and I'm going to run the 56-1 out. And it was a nice shaded area. Drop the, the folding table and everything else like that in the shade. The 56-1, basically tied off to a tree, and nobody bothered me. And I was like, ooh, this is going to be really fun. All right, camera, what the fuck are you doing? And so I was like, oh, that's because I'm waving my hand. I got to keep my hands down. And I was like, damn it, hand gestures. And so I was like, all right, cool. We'll just set up. So I set up the 56-1, did a little tuning to tweak it a little bit. And then, I did the review, and I was just like, yeah, no, sorry, not going to play that game. I'll fix it later. And long story short, I was like, oh, cool. This is nice. The bands were pretty good. The RF chokes that Matt creates, they're fucking awesome. I can't tell you how much they knock down. Like, I always have a problem, like, if I'm operating a wire in, like, a rural area where there's traffic going by, I get all the alternator whine, I get all of, like, that stuff into the radio as cars go by, or worse off, there was a Chevy in the parking lot, he turned on the car to turn the AC on, and all I heard was normal, I was like, well, I didn't, because I put the RF choke in, and then I unplugged it, and all of a sudden I hear his alternator whine, I'm like, oh, RF choke back in, and no problems, it knocked the damn thing down. I was like, dude, this is sweet. So I texted Matt, I'm like, dude, sign me up. I want to buy 2 more. I need them for my bag. He's like, okay, cool. No problem. I'll send them to you. I'm like, no, I'm going to buy them. He's like, no, I'll send them to you. I'm like, no, I'm going to buy them. I need to buy them because you send me way too much free shit. So, all that, did that video and finally wrapped that up. That'll air tomorrow. But all in all, yeah, POTA was fun. I was pretty soaked, but field day, we might talk about it. I don't know. We may not. It doesn't really matter. None of us went, so it really didn't matter. We don't really have much to add. So all good either way. And yeah, outside of that, I had a good weekend, and it was ham radio free for a little while. Even though my wife kept going, you should go to field day. You should go to field day, because we were kind of in and out. We had gone to Maine for the day, and then came back. She's like, go to field day. I'm like, no, I'm not doing field day this year. It's not field day this year. It's not the same. I don't know. We're not having steak and whiskey on Fridays, and we're not hanging out with Paul and doing the net, and so it was all a little different. But all that being said, hey, different's okay. So at that point, yeah, I'm good. But whichever the big one or the small one, I think they both had B and C's on them. So whichever one you don't want, just pass it on to me. I'll take that. So yeah, I've got Matt sending me another the SO239 version, because I had enough connectors, but then I was like, I told them I didn't really matter, but then I'm like, I really prefer SO239. So yeah, I'll send you the other one. But the only difference between the big one and the small one is the big one's 200 watts with a 100 watt digital. So you can run 100 watts with the larger one, but you can only run 60 watts with the smaller one. But dude, that 60 watts, digital is perfect either way. So yeah, the only thing, like I said, after I picked you up, excuse me, after I picked you up on the air, I was just like, I didn't realize you had Chris with you. And so like when Chris gave me his call sign, it just like went totally over my head. I'm like, okay. And I just was like, kind of like, and then after like 4 contacts and I realized, oh, that's Chris in radio life. Damn it. I should have said hello. Like I just like totally blew over him. Totally forgot. I mean, he was a good trooper with it, but more so I was just busy laughing so hard because you're like, fuck, I can't figure out his call. And you threw the mic, you threw the mic at him and like, give me your call sign. And I'm like, okay. I was like, all right.
We were doing the split mics. So
you were, okay.
Yeah, so he had the Yaesu mic and I had the military style one. And so I didn't throw it at him. I just threw it down on the bench.
Okay. But yeah, it was good. It was good to work. Yeah, man, it was always fun to, I mean, obviously I get to hear you when you're side by side working, but it's always different. I meant to ask, how was my audio level? Was it okay?
Yeah, no, you actually, so given the band conditions, right? Because there was a lot of QSB.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fading. But given the conditions, like, I mean, you were truly a 5.5. Like you were easily readable, but not just very. You weren't very strong. That's all.
Okay. So the other thing is when I borrowed the frequency from you guys, I thought I got liquid gold, but I got shit on. Like, I don't know what it was, but you must have had two guys that were like running high power, like 2 kilohertz down, and another guy a kilohertz or 2 up. Because once I said, hey, when you said here's the frequency, you're all good, started calling CQ. I had like people calling me and go, dude, I can't get you. I got too much QRM's in the way, QRM. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden the high powered station would blow over another, low power, QRP station. And I'm like, all right, I'm done with this, guys. I'm QSYing to a higher, quieter section of the band because I just couldn't handle it. I was getting beat up all the time. And somehow must have been another POTA station on there. I don't know how he would come in and he would be like working people. And then he would go away. And I'm like, dude, you're on my frequency. And then it would be dead. Wouldn't hear him from him again. And then I'd be continuing on and he'd come back in and I'd be like, dude, what is going on with the band? So I was like, okay, I get it now. It was not as quiet as it was, months ago or years ago, whatever it was. But
yeah, it was certainly a struggle and a half to get Jason. And the thing is like, I was hearing Texas stations like very, very well. Good like 5.5 to 5.8. And yeah, I don't know. Jason was in Arizona, is what he said. And so yeah, he was just really just like he'd be down in the noise, and he'd be audible, be like, okay, I got you, yeah. And then I was like, okay, second op, and for whatever reason, like Jason just couldn't hear the last 3 letters of the call sign.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got to the point where I picked up my mic and I was like, all right, Jason, did you get the full call? Kilo Delta 9, Yankee Sierra Whiskey. And then he came back and he was like, oh, all right. Yep. I got it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny you say that because like I had the similar problem with when I activated with Chris Whiskey 8 C. I'm botching his call sign. Sorry, Chris. Because we had the split mics, and I can't tell you, like I would get on the mic and I'd be like, yeah, you're a 5.9, blah, blah, blah. They're like, you're a great signal. And then I pass, like Chris would have the other mic and he'd be like, you sound like garbage. I don't understand like why, like I can't hear you. You sound muffled. And so after like the third person confirming that, and it even was like to the point, like the previous actual contact was like, hey dude, you might want to have his mic looked at because there's a problem with it. And I'm like, okay, so we just went back to one mic, and I don't know if it was a splitter of the mic or whatever. And yeah, so I felt bad for him because like he was working hard to try to make contacts, and I was like, this is a breeze, no problem. So
sweet. Well, I'm glad you had a good ham radio week, man.
Yeah, it was definitely good. Same to you, man. It was good to see you on the bands, and I definitely I was hoping you get out and activate. Not that I don't want you to jump, but it's cheaper to activate for a little while. I don't know how the parks are around you, whether you have to drive a fuck ton, but sounds like you're able to get out and do some stuff, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, so there is parks. There's a park half an hour to the west and a park a half an hour to the east. And honestly, like given how expensive skydiving is, right? Like I was really like, I wanted to skydive the last couple weeks. I wanted to. I really, really, really wanted to, but I was like, I got to save my money for the Independence Boogie because like I guarantee you between tomorrow and Sunday, I'm probably not going to jump a lot because I guarantee you I'll be fucking hungover as shit. Mm-hmm. But really, like, so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to get at least 15 to 20 jumps in. So yeah, it's going to be a great weekend.
Nice. Yeah. So, what was I going to say? I totally forgot. Dang it. Oh, well. Yeah, man. Can't remember shit. Sometimes settles in.
CRS.
Yes, totally. Oh, so yeah, my magic number for activated states is less than you.
I've got 15.
Oh. Okay. All right.
I'm only 10. Only 10.
Well, so all right. So before I leave here, I gotta get Iowa and Indiana.
Yeah.
Because both of those states are within a few hours drive. So I definitely got to get both of those. And then I'm thinking I would have really liked to have stopped at a couple drop zones on the way to Huntsville and done some skydiving. But I think I'm going to just try and get parks. I'm just going to try and get a couple parks. Maybe get to Tennessee, Missouri. Because everybody wants to get misery, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah,
everybody wants.
But, just try and get a couple more states in the book.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, real quick question. I mean, obviously, we want to get into the topic tonight, but the Huntsville, you want to give people a little update? Not Huntsville. Yeah, Huntsville. I get that right? Yeah. Okay.
That is right.
You want to give people a little update on that one so they know what's going on with you and where you're at. So if they're going to be down that way, they can stop by and say hello.
Absolutely. If you're going to be down in Huntsville, please come and say hi. So from the 11th to the 18th, I have site number 33 at Huntsville, and so it'll be me and Watson until Thursday. Thursday, Chris Bricker is going to come. He's going to stay with me for the rest of the weekend. And that's going to be, honestly, it's going to be a great time. Friday, we're going to be skydiving. There's a whole lot of really cool things planned that are going to be happening at the campground. Plus, we're going to be doing POTA and, whatever. So, yeah, I've got Eric is sending, thank you, a whole bunch of stickers and good, hammies and things to give out. So yeah, come see me. I'll have all the goodies, and be representing Live Free and Ham down in Huntsville.
Yep. I won't send you an Ed Dong though.
Dude, that's the perfect name for that antenna.
It is. It's totally. Dude, you missed the. You didn't catch Ham Radio
Clubhouse last night?
Did you?
No.
Oh my gosh, it was a blast. You watch on a replay, but long story short, they sent Joe Brett finally 2 antennas.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is what we're dubbing as Ed Dong. They put a rubber dong on the end of an antenna, and actually I think tunes up from what I understand. Wrote a whole instruction manual and as a gag, and then they sent him an actual real ATAS 120. So he finally got his ATAS. But
right.
Yeah, what was it? They called the first one the Dictas 120.
Yes, the Dictas 120. So.
But it's only good for 2 meters, so that's why I was like, well, clearly it's an Ed Dong.
Exactly right, way better. So yeah, man, I can't tell you how much crap was flying on the chat that night. It was like, could you keep up with it? But cool. All right, well, let's because we are getting close to end of time here, because we're going to roll over for those folks that might not know over to our live stream shortly after this. So. We're kind of
the meat of the show is going to be the next 10 minutes.
Exactly right. You're going to get a high speed, kind of summary. So yeah, we kind of past 2 episodes, I think we really quickly kind of just would let it all fly, and you kind of got to see a close and personal kind of side of Live Free and Ham that we all went back and listened to it, most of us, and felt like it wasn't too bad, but it was good content. I actually liked it. I wasn't too embarrassed, and I wasn't like, oh my gosh, we're going to lose a lot of listeners from it. I think we're going to probably gain a lot more.
I was a little grouchier than maybe I should have been, but that's all right.
We might have developed a new segment from that. I mean, it kind of, it sounds like Todd's ready to gear up on, when to press the button. It'd be like one of those easy buttons, but it'll be like, activate grouch mode, or not grouch mode. So, that was good. And, kind of come with it. So we're trying to get this back on track. So for those folks that actually like, uniformity and consistency, and likes the habit of like listening to the same format where they can feel like it's warm and comfy blanket. We're going to get back to a little show topic, but with that, we want to kind of talk about, our Live Free and Ham. We've been doing this for 2 years, guys. I mean, Paul's been almost about a year and a half, right? Yeah. You came in about a year and a half. And
yeah,
so Todd,
I came in just after Christmas.
Okay. So yeah, right around that time. And Todd and I have been, here for the duration. We can't leave. It's Hotel California. So all good there. But, every year we kind of like to touch base on this because there's some good stuff that, comes from it. We kind of share our feelings on it. And, I'm interested to see what you guys think because I'm one of those type A people that I like to kind of do a year in review of my life every once in a while just to see where I'm at, how things are going. Did I, get anywhere in my life or did I just, chase my tail? And with that, kind of helps me to go, hey, what can we do for the future? So, with that, let's kind of start. We'll throw it to you, Paul, since you're the young end of the crew. And both in age and longevity in terms of the podcast here. But any kind of thoughts you kind of glean from it. I mean, you've been doing this for a year and a half. I mean, you've done a lot of shit on your own, and decided to do your own podcast somewhere. I don't know what made you think you wanted to do that or where it kind of came from, but you did it. It was cool. But share a little bit. What's your kind of thoughts with this, and what do you really truly feel? So, all right, for me, like all of this was, it was a big door opener, right? So I'm a very kind of reserved person. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm antisocial, but I'm definitely as I've gotten older, I've gotten more socially awkward. Where like I'm just not sure like what the right thing to say or the right questions to ask when I'm meeting new people, and so I tend to just kind of isolate and kind of just stick to myself. But this show actually it helped me to break out of that comfort zone and do something completely unnatural for me. Like, I mean, I've done public speaking and, I've given oratorical speech contests and things when I was much younger. And, my time leading the VFW, like I would lead, events and, public speaking engagements. And so, I don't have an issue with, speaking with people. But it's a very different type of platform, and so I think honestly, some of my favorite times are the unscripted, where we just kind of let loose and just talk about whatever's on our mind. And honestly, that's where Weekend Warriors was born from. It was I was post COVID, I was used to group therapy. Every week I would go to the VA for group therapy. I had an online group as well. And so I was doing a lot of interacting with other veterans where we could just talk openly about whatever it was that was our struggle in that moment. And that all kind of went away after COVID, right? So with this show, it was like, all right, well, I have this idea, and I want to bring group therapy to the interwebs, right? And so that was it for me. That was the whole reason why I started Weekend Warriors. Is it was my group therapy on the interwebs, and it's, like I said, it's all because of Live Free and Ham. So I absolutely love ham radio and all of that. But there's a lot of things that like are important to me that just aren't really relevant to this show. Sure. And so that's where I kind of broke off with that. And I'm long overdue for podcast recording with that, because I've just been so busy with everything that's going on in my own life. And those things happen, right? But yeah, so I just want to say, I'm very grateful that you guys decided to bring me on. I know there are definitely times where I'm like, I don't know what exactly I bring to this show other than, a sense of humor, comedic relief. Yes. But like, I mean, I'm a dumb grunt. I'm always trying to learn new things. There's so much in ham radio that's just way over my freaking head. Actually,
45 Auto. If anybody's been in the HamTuber chats on any of the live streams, you're familiar with 45 Auto. But we were in the chat on a Nuggets episode on Monday night, and he made the comment. He said, "Dude, every time you guys start talking computers, it's just blah 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 blah, and it's just over my fucking head." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Dude, I am with you."
Me too.
The whole reason I watch Nuggets is because it's just so far over my freaking head. Like, I have no clue what the fuck they're talking about, but I don't know, I'm learning something.
Sure.
And so I hope, like, we also kind of provide the same type of, thing for people. Like, if there's something that we're talking about that's over your head, like, please let us know and we can further explain. Because I think, honestly, that a lot of people are, they're hesitant to say, like, holy shit, I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah. Right. But like, if you don't say something, then like the people putting on the show aren't going to know that they need to kind of dumb it down and give you that, third grade explanation as opposed to, the college calculus fucking level.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, for me, like, honestly, I'm very happy. I'm very proud to be a member of the Live Free and Ham podcast, and I hope that the 2 years is just the beginning, and we look back, 15 years from now, we're like, do you remember when I had only been here for a little while? And
wow. 15. What number does that look like for you, Todd? That's like 67, I think.
Yeah.
That puts me at like
I'll
65.
Be gone by then.
You can just fall off the planet.
I might just be dead. It's my luck. I'm gonna retire at 60, and then I'm gonna freaking probably die the next day. That's the way my luck goes.
Oh man.
But no, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I think when Eric and I talked about this, he already had a podcast. I said, "Oh, this would be kind of cool." I didn't really know anything about it, and I still don't know as much. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get more involved in how to create it and get on OBS and be able to plug things in like you guys do. Technology, I love to use technology. I have no idea how it works, and I'm kind of a computer idiot. But if it works, I'm good at it. I know how to use it, and I do like it. But I think the podcast has been good. I mean, I can't believe we've been. What are we at? This is what, 2 years now?
2 years
already.
Yep.
That's crazy. Like, it doesn't seem that long. But like you, I mean, I like I think the first one we did was when, Eric, I think you were away, and Paul and I just kind of was like, well, what are we going to do? Like, oh, we'll just shoot the shit. We like talked for like 3 hours.
You figured it out.
But I love the live streams. I think that is ultimately my favorite part of doing the thing, especially when we get people coming in and coming out and just interacting and just kind of seeing where it goes. I do love the interviews. The Hillbilly group, that was my favorite podcast. I think I love those guys. Like, I'm seriously like, I'm like,
yep.
I almost got down, in May, there was that new airline flying out of Manchester Airport. It was $25 to Wilmington each way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, shit, $50.
We gotta go, dude.
Well, it's not that anymore. It was in May.
Oh.
So, but I was like,
I was going to say, reach out to Shannon and Sean and see if, like,
now they live on the other side of North Carolina. But for me, like, I don't give a shit if I have to drive 4 hours or 3 hours or whatever. I mean, that's nothing. Yep. So yeah, I'm looking to go back down. I love North Carolina. Now we have some family down there, and I would love to go down there and just hook up with them doing a POTA activation. But I had a lot of fun with those guys. I thought they were really cool. I love the way their club developed, and how they're out there doing stuff. And like all our guests, I mean, there hasn't been one guest I've been like, oh, I wish they weren't on the podcast. They've all been awesome. And
we've all got our favorites.
We do.
I mean, I look at the Hillbillies. They're my favorite. I mean, I feel like I could connect with them. Like, I can go down there and hang with those guys. We'd be all right. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And, and it was funny because Eric, Ryan said he didn't want to, we decided that we were going to go on to
live, video
to do YouTube, and he was kind of hesitant. He didn't. I mean, he did a few of them, I think, and with all his flying and stuff. And when we started, we were only doing it once every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now look at us. My God.
Yeah. So now it's like we're doing it every week, and I just think it was just too much for him with his flying and his schedule not being consistent. So, he kind of backed away. He's still part of the podcast, and, he gives us his input and stuff. And, he'll always be part of the podcast. So,
yep.
And then Eric's like, so, what do you think of Paul joining in? I'm like, cool. Yeah. Bring him on. Next thing
I think Todd was really nervous because it would just been him and I, and the thing would have been totally in the tank after a week.
Yeah. I'm like, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
there's Ryan. That's Winterfield Day, Ryan. Yes.
Yeah. So and it's kind of cool because all of us all met or have a connection to POTA. So when Eric and I first met Ryan, we were doing a POTA activation at Silver Lake. He pulled up, parks on the air. Eric, I think you had met him before or something, didn't you? Maybe.
Yeah, Ryan and I kind of bumped across each other's paths a little on the repeater, I think. Yeah.
And then, Paul, you, me, and Eric, I did that. I got my general, did the first POTA, then we met at the rail trail. And you and I were there first. So like, did you bring anything? He goes, nope. I didn't bring anything. Like, hope Eric brought stuff. Like, he knows what he's doing. And then I love that picture we have of the three of us sitting there activating that park for the first time. And it's been a lot of fun. And it's, I think the podcast is it's a good connection for us. And even though you're out west and our off difference, I mean, we still getting together every week and shooting the shit and, doing the podcast and learning about I've learned a lot about skydiving. So it's been kind of cool.
It's not as easy as you would think.
No.
Like jump out of the plane and you fly around and you pull the thing and you're done. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it's been kind of cool.
You scream all the way down. You forgot that part.
But you know how like AI or your phone's listening or whatever. So like I start getting all these parachute videos, right? One after another keeps popping up. Like, so I sent him one. I said, you got to check out, I know you don't do Facebook, but check out this guy. This guy is like awesome in the air. And I wouldn't have appreciated it until we talked about it and we watched the videos of Paul struggling just to stay straight, right? And then he had to go, right? You went to Chicago to do the wind tunnel or whatever. So when you're watching that, if we didn't have that conversation or you didn't have that experience, I would have been like, oh yeah, that guy's, he can do stupid shit in the air. But then to appreciate how hard that is based on what I know what you went through. So yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of, and I think the show goes where it goes. I love the fact that it's not, we were talking like, what's the show going to be about? Is it going to be just about POTA? Is it just going to be like, what are we going to do? And our show, I think, is just about freaking everything and anything. And sometimes it's not even about ham radio. And I think that's all right because not everything is ham radio, but it is a lot and it's the basis of it. But I think there's other interests that we all have and, it's been good. And I'm glad we have a following. I think it's kind of cool that people listen to us. And I appreciate that the people listen to us and that whatever we're saying or doing is helping whoever, either be interested in ham radio or get motivated to upgrade or just listen to our shenanigans.
So we're getting close to the top of the hour here, so we'll just kind of wrap things up. But so just I got a couple of stats I want to share with you guys because I think they're really cool, kind of like milestone things. But I have to say I would not want to do this show with anybody else except you guys. Like it's just. We have a bond, we have a connection. I know, dude. Like, oh, but it's funny you say that because I could get all sappy and I'm going to, but bottom line is like I see a lot of people like they'll come up to me like, dude, I really love your show, and I'm like, well, it's not really my show. It's like all of us, and they're like, oh, I know, but like your chemistry is like so like you guys just play off each other, and how like it's not like. You're pushing an agenda. You're not like trying to like get through something. You just like let it fly and it all works together. I'm like, yeah, I know, but that's because I trust these guys. I am arm in arm with them when we operate radio and we do other things outside of this podcast. So I think that makes us that much sweeter for being attracted to other people. But so So you guys ready for a few little stats here?
Yeah.
All right.
So, all right, first one. So when we first started the show, it was June 5th, 2023. That was our first episode. So if you are a listener and you want to go back in the catalog, this is show episode 1, 20 words per minute with a hacksaw blade and a nail. That one, I went back and listened to it and I went, what the hell were we doing, man? I was like, holy crap, and so that I think that was kind of the milestone. So we're a little bit past that now. We're in July, but that we're not too bad. I mean, we literally launched it, before field day, which was kind of surprising, but it kind of started everything and kicked things off. And we started doing live streams and doing all this crazy YouTube shit that we were like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and then I'm like, Paul, you got to go do this crazy YouTube shit. It's fun. And he's like, dude, what are you doing? And then, the big thing when we first kind of like got our name out, remember, Todd, you could probably remember this because Paul had not joined in yet. We went to Ham Expo. They invited us to come be a booth there. And my God, that was a train wreck. That was a train wreck. But we had some cool guests on. We figured out what we needed to do. People are like, who's this Live Free in Ham? And we're like, here's a sticker. Please listen to our podcast. And it was like, everyone was like, okay, cool. And, and that was like, I think we hit like 100 downloads. We're like, woo, 100 downloads. Nothing. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. This is really okay. We got to create more content now. And then one of my big fun episodes was when, Paul, your start date was December 4th, 2023. That's when you joined us. So, you've been literally, I have to say, dude, I've never met anybody just like, okay, I'm just going to dive in head first, empty pool, whatever. Let's just go do it. Let's figure it out. And you say you're not freaking technical, but freaking A, you throw like a bunch of wires and like a bunch of PCB boards and you tell them go build a computer, and Paul's like, all right, I got a computer here, and it can calculate the latest physics equation to solve world hunger, whatever. Paul's already got it done. So don't let him fool you guys. Paul is one of those guys that you give him a task and he'll fucking do it like 10 times way better than what you could ever imagine. So that he keeps the show running, he keeps me in line, and I'm freaking a professional in IT, and I'm like why do I feel like so inadequate? So
you feel inadequate. Shit.
I do. Trust me.
OBS works.
Well, that's why. Like,
why do we need OBS? I'm like, I don't need it. I get on here, and you guys, well, if you want to do all the fun shit like pushing buttons and
yeah, right.
I'm like, oh yeah, I don't get to do that.
And so we had a couple of other things. Like,
you want to see my ham radio?
No. I love that, man. We got to figure out how to put that in our shirt. So we were like totally ecstatic. 29th of March, we hit 2,500 downloads, and that was 11 months in the show. And that was like unheard of. And the reason why it was unheard of, because my previous podcast I had done with a bunch of guys that I had been, friends with for 30 years, we barely hit 100 downloads after 4 years of doing it at the start of COVID. And by the time we decided that we were done with it, we barely had like 100 subscribers. So that was like, a gut sucking, trying to like create content. And we just kind of just recorded, hit the button and did whatever. And that was like every episode every week. And so, I give a credit to you guys. You can just come to the table and bring shit.
Well, I remember you were telling me, I'm like, how are we doing? Because like the numbers to me didn't mean anything. I'm like, I don't know if it's good or bad. And he's like, dude, he goes, we are like way ahead of where we're supposed to be. This is amazing. Yeah. And I was like, really?
2,500 was a big mark. So.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, that's where, Paul's, man crush, and Todd, you kind of followed. That's where, we ended up having, did Paul freeze?
Yeah.
That's his starry-eyed daydream face.
Yeah. He's like,
damn Elon. So, Paul's, as he's recovering here, that's when we met KD9OLN, and now is KD9OL. Carlos, and that started this whole journey with Paul. There we go. He's back from Elon's, grasp.
I heard KD9OLN. It's K9OL.
It is now, but at the time he was KD9OL. Later after that, so he changed his call. Yeah, he was OLN when we brought him on, but then he got his call shortly after that. So I made sure.
Yeah, Kilo 9 or Oscar Lima now. Yep.
And so he came on, and that's what started the whole, I I wouldn't say downward spiral. It was kind of more just just jump and figure out how it goes kind of attitude with stop moving camera. I'm not signaling you to do anything. And so that started the whole process there.
Yes, by far, that is the episode that I talk about the most.
Mm-hmm.
My man crush with Carlos.
Right.
And we love it.
And he like challenged you and you're like, bring it on. I'm doing this. That's basically, and after that, it was all over.
Yep. And then, the other big thing, we had a bunch of other stuff in there. We hit a couple of 5,000 downloads. But the one thing I thought was like we finally got our first Patreon subscriber. We were jumping up and down like, why is someone paying for our show? And dude, Paul says it all the time. I try to remember all the time. We love our Patreon subscribers. We love people who even listen to our show for free. We thank you guys for supporting us. But dude, it's just weird to have someone say, hey, I like your content. I'm going to pay you for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I just think
but it makes me feel good, honestly.
It does.
Like, I mean, even if it's $1 a month or $2 a month, like just the fact that somebody's willing to give a cup of coffee every month to us, like that's huge.
Well, it's not a cup of coffee anymore these days. I don't know what cup of coffee you're buying. I know you're making it at home. The last time I paid $4 for mine. You're barely getting the grains, but
I don't buy coffee out. So
no, you don't. Okay. And I guess the last one we threw in here was when we finally hit. Actually, the last two. I know Todd mentioned this where we had the Hillbilly Ham Radio guys on. That was a blast. Those awesome guys, show. We love them. We want to continue to do more with you guys. So, again, thank you for all the swag. We haven't, I might put it on the live stream just to, tease these guys with it because I haven't given Todd his yet. And the care package is coming to you, man. So, it's coming soon. We'll have to talk offline. I got to get you some other stuff.
You didn't send it already?
I haven't sent it yet. So I'm going to send
okay.
It's going, pretty quick. So we'll talk offline as to what I have to get.
Yeah. I may have you send it to the drop zone instead then.
Okay. Yeah, the only reason why, because Matt's holding stuff up. He wants me to send, he's sending a whole bunch of stuff for you. So I'm like, Matt, you got to get it to me now. Like, come on, Matt, this is your reminder. Get me that stuff so I can get it to Paul.
Yeah, Huntsville's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. And then last one is when we hit 10,000 downloads in May. So May 3rd, 2025 was our big milestone.
And right now,
that's huge.
We're at 12-1.
12. Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you look at the graph that I can see, it show if you do all time, we have basically just been going up. And last month or May, we had 948 downloads, and in June we had 935. Now the only reason June is actually should be more than because in May we had the live stream plus an extra Monday show. We had 4 Mondays. So even though it's a little bit lower this month, we didn't have 1 extra Monday. So I'm hoping that we get up to 1,000 downloads in a month. That would be kind of cool. Man. So we're getting close. There. So even though we went down in June a little bit, it's really not because there was an extra Monday and that's when we drop our podcast and that's where we get the most downloads. So it had 1 less and we were at 935 last month. So that's pretty cool.
Nice job. Yeah. And we thank all our listeners for that. I mean, you guys make this show and we just kind of get together and, talk about stuff and you guys like it. So, it's all good. So yeah, we could talk for hours, but I want to, kind of cut us short here because we're really bumping up against our live stream. So, you guys are going to get double episodes. Obviously, once, this episode rolls, our live stream is going to be obviously, in a podcast form tomorrow. So, you'll get that podcast first and then you'll get this episode. So you'll kind of have to make the connections in your head after. But all that being said, let's get to the finals here. So again, we all thank you guys for being part of the Live Free and Ham community. Without you guys, we would just be talking to ourselves. And I don't know about you. I don't want to hear my voice as much as I have to hear my voice a lot of times. So we all appreciate that. We all thank you guys for supporting us, being part of the community. And we're looking forward to some awesome stuff going on this year and in the many 15 years to come, as Todd said. 15 years is the number. So that's the magic number. We'll see where we go from there.
15 years?
Yeah, 15. So with that, you have plenty of time, but you can always head over to our Discord server, join in that conversation, be part of the community there. We'd love to meet you, love to hear more, share a bunch of stuff. There's awesome channels going on, many conversations. You can always subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Make sure you're part of our notification bell so you're part of all of our live stream notifications and other recordings. Please, feel free to leave us an SMS, message, or you can use our 978-233-1142 number. Leave us a voicemail. We want to hear from you guys. We want to see how, and what you guys like about the show. Maybe you got some things you want us to talk about. Feel free. And if you got a great topic, we got a topic over in our channel, our Discord that you can leave. We're always looking to, try to find stuff that you guys want, that you're interested in that we can talk about. So with that, you can always head over to livefreeandham.com to learn about the show, check out our latest swag, and find out all about us and the hosts and the show. And with that, thanks again for listening as always, and looking forward to the rest of the 2025 year and in the future. With that, we'll say 7-3.
7-3.
7-3.